Greetings, everybody. Dr. Jane here from Miracle Medicine on a Thursday. And today we're going to be discussing the colds, the flus, the chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases of the lungs, sinuses, sinusitis, rhinitis, allergies. In the Southern Hemisphere, it's winter time now, and we've got our fair share of respiratory diseases, infections, and some people got off lightly, some people are still ill in bed, and others are on chronic antibiotics. So let's have a look in this 2026 Health Revolution Age of Prevention theme that I've set up. And this is about the fifth or the sixth recording on various aspects of building up your immunity to be in a prevention space where you can ward off anything that comes across your way, rather than letting it settle. And I gave the example before, if you've got bunches of spinach growing and some are growing in really healthy composted nutrient-rich soil and the others are growing in stony, poor soil, the ones without the nutrients will be weaker, and that's where the pests go. That's where the parasites go. That's where they go and do their work, and through catabolism, degenerate those plants, whereas the healthy plants are left untouched, and that's the same for humans. So parasites and funguses and bacteria and things only reside in organisms, bodies that are out of homeostasis, out of harmony, not operating from a happiness point of view, where the body parts are not speaking to each other. So we always need to look holistically at health and make sure that our body, our mind, our emotions, and our spirit are in alignment, and that we are presenting the best front that we can to ward off infections and keep our body resistant. So today we're talking specifically herbal, my para-immune, my parastop, and I'm bringing in also the replica RNA DNA again, because that's very powerful in boosting immune systems, and the lung cleanse, and also the stress adaptogens. And why stress? Because obviously stress is going to reduce our immunity. So anything that's going to reduce our immunity is going to, lay us open to disease, disorder, infection. So it's crucial to clear those causes. Physically, environmental toxins, chemicals, etc. Emotionally, to clear the anger, the sadness, the fear, the hatred, the guilt, the resentment, the jealousy, those things, because they also cause reduced immunity and disharmony in the body, discord. So with that, let's move to the slides and leave your comments in the chat. And I just want to say at this stage that I have over probably 400 educational videos now on my Dr. Jane Mackenzie YouTube channel. So I urge you to go and have a look there. There's a search bar. You can type in what you're looking for, DMSO or infection or immunity or self-love, and you'll get the videos coming through. Do have a look there, like, subscribe, comment. This one will be uploaded tomorrow. So with that, let's have a look at how we're going to build our resistance before the invaders strike. So disease prevention is the theme. Why now? Why are we getting flu, sinuses, respiratory illnesses and that on the increase? Because it's colder. So when it's colder, our skin contracts and it doesn't detox as much as it should, which means there's an overload on the lungs especially. So the main reason is that it's cold and the skin gets cold and the pores close, so it can't detoxify. One of the reasons. You would think that diseases and organisms wouldn't thrive in the cold, but actually they're there for a reason. Some of them are there for natural detoxification, and I spoke last week about this. Our own organisms in the friendly state will switch to the opportunistic, aggressive form to fight invaders, especially around the equinoxes. So we're coming up towards the 21st of June, which is cleansing. Every solstice and equinox, 21st of March, 21st of June, 21st of September, 21st of December are opportunities to cleanse. The earth goes through cleansing. So you will see that this month might be a cleansing month for you. It will be easy because you're in sync with the earth. So one of the reasons is we actually detox ourselves. And the other reason is as I said, we get cold, and then the other detox organs take strain, in particular the lungs. So there's other theories and things that could influence this as well, but I'm not going to go into that today. So there's the two parts of detoxification: body self-induced and then externally motivated. So there will be engineered organisms out there ready to cause dis-ease in the body. And I was just at one of the health pharmacies this morning, and people are coming in their droves to pick up things for sinusitis, rhinitis, allergies, and upper respiratory infections, lower respiratory infections, the very serious ones, COPD. And I'm going to talk to you about a case study in a moment. So we want to bring in this build in resistance before invaders strike, and I use my HIELO process for that. That is my quantum well-being compass. And my main philosophy is to think clearly and live productively in all areas of your life. And that needs to happen via holistic assessments, looking at mind, body, emotion, and spirit. Otherwise, there's missing links. And more often than not, the root cause is the emotional. It's beyond the physical root cause. The body is presenting symptoms, and the root cause is beyond the body. It's actually emotional driven. And I've said that so many times. So I know you know that. That is my holistic ancestral and orientation emotional release, where we release repeated generational patterns that come down. And sadness is so common, and anger is so common, and fear is so common, and hatred is so common. We've got these emotions sitting with granny and grandpa or great granny, and we need to get to that root cause of it, clear it there, clear that memory, and then you will heal, because those trapped memories can leave. So some of the memories are trapped in the skin, some are trapped in the cells. It could be the lungs, the liver, the kidney, the heart, the brain. And the deal is to identify the emotion and then identify the root cause of it within the generations, and then we clear it. And it's wonderful because people shift automatically. It's alchemical shifts like that. We also shifted with using the quantum NQB, formerly the SCIO devices, and those are highly effective in identifying root causes, risk factors, and realignment. The realignment happens in the session, and there's no more guesswork. Also, that device will also do emotions, mind, body, emotions, and spirit. So we've got a wonderful tool here, the HIELO process, to benchmark and do assessments and recognize things before they actually happen, which is good. So you get warnings. So let's just focus now on this immune system, which is highly important. It is our army, and it's made up of the gut, the microbes in the gut, 75%. It's made up of the bone marrow, which will then instruct white blood cells, red blood cells, platelets, T cells, beta cells, NKF cells to be produced, which will then be probably the other 25% of our immunity to go and heal. So when an invader strikes, you're going to get your organisms going there. They will shift to the opportunistic form and go and fight. You'll get your white blood cells and all those other cells I mentioned also going to the site to heal. So if you're missing like a probiotic, if you don't have the microbiome reset, which we have, which has got over 80 live strains, you're missing out on a huge amount of your ability to heal. So the first thing I do when people are sick, microbiome reset, flaxseed oil. That's going to work for the gut and the lungs. And the gut's often one of the first areas that gets affected. So it can start off as gastric flu. We might be tonsils, tonsillitis, gastric flu, and then it will go to the lungs, usually. So we always want to line the gut with flaxseed oil, line the lungs with flaxseed oil, and bolster the body with the effective microorganisms from microbiome reset. And as I said, there's over 80 live strains. So those are crucial. That has to happen. And then we bring in the oxygen, of course, and we bring in the herbal. So I'm going to show you now how we bring in what we do. So root causes generally stress, toxins, deficiencies, parasites. And moving to the lung cleanse and restore here, this is where we have our respiratory support and oxygenation. So I will bring in, to any case, the lung cleanse. And the lady who got really, really ill, this was the first thing we did after the microbiome and the flaxseed oil, is bring in oxygen and the lung cleanse. So this lung cleanse and restore will help clean the lung and restore the tissue, which is crucial. It's got cordyceps in it, it's got bee pollen, it's got Siberian ginseng, and all of those are helpers that enhance the absorption of oxygen into the bloodstream. Because sometimes the infection is so bad in the lungs that it's invaded the lung lining, and you're only getting 30% available mucous membrane to absorb oxygen. And if the body's not in homeostasis, you won't get that all absorbed anyway. So my aim is to get maximum oxygen, maximum nutrition to the cell, maximum charged electrons. And we spoke about that a few videos back, where we're looking at the almost gold, the Shilajit, and charging the body. Once we've got a charged battery, we can then start operating. So very important, charge the body, bring in the oils, bring in the probiotic, and bring in the peptides, which I'll speak about in a moment. So that one is crucial for the lady in the case study. And it also helps, obviously, then with the sinuses and the oxygen uptake. So that's where we're going to bring in oxygen. I'm going to show you that one now in a moment. Okay, Peri-Immune. Now, this is an amazing formula that I designed. And I brought in the top antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral herbs: powder arco, andrographis, golden seal, sarsaparilla, knotwood, for example, black walnut hull, artemisia, cloves. So the Parastop is in the Peri-Immune. But this herbal a range of 7 herbs is formidable. So alongside the oxygen at different times, we're going to bring this in. And honestly, you could even take up to 8 at one time. And sometimes in those severe chronic infections, we'll do that. Or you can take 4 and an hour later another 4. It makes no difference. It nails the parasites quickly. So, and this is all researched. It's evidence-based medicine, meaning it is researched, it's measured, it's benchmarked, and the client's getting better. They can visibly tell you and they feel better. So it's crucial to have this covering the serious bacteria, funguses, viruses, and parasites. So it's a broad spectrum. It's definitely a go-to. We're selling lots of this at the moment. The Parastop is in the Peri-Immune. That will be your black walnut hull, clove, and artemisia. It's used for the gut, but you also get flukes that are in the pancreas, that are in the lungs, and little worms. So the Parastop will get to all of those cells, those organisms, and detoxify you and build your resilience. So this would be a lighter approach, 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. But the very severe chronic lung disorders, we're going to use the Peri-Immune. I brought in the replic RNA DNA here for sure, because remember what this is. These are peptides. The 5 major building block peptides of the entire body: uracil, adenine, guanine, thymidine, and cytidine. These 5 protein peptides will make any formula, any formation of any amino acid chain in the body automatically as the body needs it. It will also knock on the door and alert the immune system, hey, there's invaders out there, you haven't identified them, let's go and find them. So it boosts the immunity. It's used at the top cancer clinics around the world, the Buzinski Clinic in particular. So it's vital. It gets the cells communicating, it gets everything started. So for example, you can have a Lamborghini full of petrol, but if you don't have the starter to click over, you're not going to get that car started. And RNA DNA replica is the one that does that. It's the starter. And crucial. And that's how it's going to repair, build resilience, improving recovery quickly. So in my case study, the lady definitely took the replica RNA DNA. And then stress adaptogens, because this is a big problem, and we get more stressed when we're sick, and so on and so on. So I've got the 5 major plant-based: rhodiola, foti, astragalus, ashwagandha, Siberian ginseng inside that. And honestly, not only stress relief, but also longevity. So, you know, the foti is important, the astragalus is important. Those are longevity herbs anyway. So all my herbs and my formulations are not only doing one thing, I'm just saying. But if they're promoting longevity, they're promoting cellular health. So this is crucial, but it's calming us so that we can get well. So this is a definite import into the whole protocol for, you know, chronic diseases and sinuses and so on. And it's going to help relax the adrenal hormone, the adrenal gland, sorry. And most people who are sick have got a flattened adrenal gland. They all have chronic disease. That will be 6 out of 7 people. To start with, they're weak. And then they carry on with their daily life. This case study lady, eventually I said to her, stop, what are you doing? You are so ill. Just get home, make your soup, and get in your garden in the sun with your feet on the ground. Stay warm, sleep, rest. You're not going to get better otherwise. And I had to be firm with her, because this is the truth. And then your nervous system is raw because you've stressed it and you've stressed it, and your hormone levels are low, because when we stress, we don't produce hormones. And it's this whole cycle that kicks in. And, you know, illness is a gift, but we also need to give it the opportunity, the body and the mind and the emotions and the spirit, opportunity to heal. And many of us don't understand this. Many people just want the antibiotics so that in 2-3 days, 4 days, they're back at work. But then they get the resistant infection later, and they're sick again for another week. And this kind of continues. I'm just saying, let's nail it right from the beginning, naturally, holistically, let the body heal itself, let it build up resistance, and it's over. And this is what happened with the lady, exactly. So this is the case study that I wanted to present. She came into me, she could hardly talk. Her husband had just had chronic infection. He'd gone the antibiotic route, 2 courses of antibiotics. So by now it's resistant. So she's picked up a resistant bug, and she wiped out. She can't speak, and what does she need to do? So she came in, and we did the assessment, and I had a look, and the blood was thick, which means the oxygen can't flow, and the adrenal fatigue was showing. And, malabsorption of nutrients, vitamin C were low, other vitamins were low, trace minerals were low, iron was low, etc. If the iron's low, you're not going to pick up the oxygen. So we rearranged all of this. We did proper quantum benchmark assessment. I showed her blood under the microscope. She saw the organisms, the bacteria, the viruses, etc. under the microscope. She saw the thick blood. She saw the toxins in the blood. So it was a no-brainer for her. She saw she was ill. And then we looked at these root causes. Obviously, she was being infected from her husband. So there's the 2 infections. Remember, the one where our body decides to detox, the other ones we acquire. She had acquired this resistant thing, and she was a sick lady. So we got her onto 8 doses a day of the oxygen, the DMSO, the para-immune, the stress adaptogens, the replica RNA, DNA, microbiome reset, flaxseed oil, lung cleanse, if I didn't say it already. And as I said, she was then out and about. And what can she do? Because she's got to go to gym and she's got to go to bridge and everything. I said to her, just kindly stop. Let your body rest, let your mind rest, your emotions and your spirit. And exactly, I told her what to do. Get in the sun, earth yourself, hydrate, breathe properly, sleep. And in no time, she was better. But it took her, because she came to me late as well, it took her 4 days to actually get rid of these terrible symptoms. If you don't leave it for a long time, 2 days, 2.5 days, the symptoms have gone. But in her case, also age-related, it took 4 days. So we're on day 5, and we're starting to reduce now the 8 doses to 6 and 4. But still keeping a high number of the oxygen drops and thing. And this is how we then titrate it down, and then she'll be on the protocol still for another month at least, to make sure that if it was a genetically oriented originated organism, that it's out of her body, because that will affect the genetic coding. But I've got the replica RNA DNA in there, warding that off, making sure that every new cell, right from the nucleus, their nucleotide proteins actually, is perfect. So we're not getting SNPs in the genetic code. It's crucial, very, very important. So there you go. And we should be eating like that. We should be living like that all day anyway. I always say eat as if you have degeneration, because why wait? You know, we want to ward it off and make sure that we're healthy all the time, as much as we can, 90% of the time, let's say. And it's an acquired feeling to be healthy, to have, you know, feel well, be at a high state of well-being. And that's what my doctorate, my dissertation is on. It's on a multidimensional, holistic quantum well-being framework, which is my HIELO. So we need to be cognizant of this. And I'm not going to do anything that's going to make me feel weaker, lower my energy. You know, even I got to the stage with coffee, that coffee was lowering my energy. I would do exercises, run, swim, eat healthily, feel supreme, you know, and then I would take a coffee and I would come down a few. And I thought, no, I don't need that anymore. So turf that. You know, my green tea does more than I need. In fact, the coffee was not making me feel so stable, not really, you know, in harmony. But everyone's different. I don't have a problem with coffee. Everyone's different. And from my perspective, I'm going to feel supreme as much as I can, because then I'm really thinking clearly, living productively, and I'm thriving 365 days a year. So this is what we did for this lady, and I'm so happy and thrilled that she's pulled through and she's built up immunity and resistance to the organisms. If you go into antibiotics, you don't actually, your innate immunity doesn't increase. Here's our oxygen connection. And, you know, cellular oxygen is my game. That's what I'm aiming for. And my quantum devices measure that for me. It's not the blood oxygen level. No. It's what got into the cell. That's most important. So last week's, if you want to know more on oxygen, watch last week's video. And then here's the HIELO compass sort of methodology. Reset the body, restore the body, let the innate potential heal, rejuvenate, let that healing happen, and then rejoice when we remeasure. So we've got to do the quantum medicine benchmarking, the NQB, the Q450, and the live blood analysis. We then realign with the NQB as well. The device realigns my nutrients, the oxygen drip clinic, the acupuncture, the infrared, and the sun and the earth and the breathing and the hydration and the good nutrition, obviously. And then let the body heal using nature, the body's innate potential to heal, and then we clear the emotion using the HIELO generational pattern releasing. And then we rejoice with the reassessment against the initial benchmarking. So that's in a nutshell what we're doing, and it works every time, and we follow that. Must be holistic, as I said to you, bringing in nutrition, detoxification, oxygenation, and emotions with the mind, body, emotion, and spirit. So all of these are on sale. They're still on sale. Limited time is left. They've been on sale the whole month. So go and have a look and stock up and start preparing for prevention. That is the only way. Nobody wants to take days off. Nobody wants a sore throat. I don't actually remember the last time I had a sore throat, to be quite frank. And you too. You know, we don't have to get ill. And why be the spinach patch that's in the soily, stony sand when you can be the one in the composted, nutrient-dense sand? So we build our compost. So go and have a look there. I'll give you the website. There we go, www.365healthybychoice.com. And if you want appointments and follow up, you can WhatsApp, text me, and you can also send an email. So that's where we need to be. Those are your the addresses and the numbers, and I'm available to help. And then, you know, that's just from me, the philosophy again, just to thank you for listening, for coming in. It's always a pleasure to see you all from around the world. And, let's continue to the trajectory of thinking clearly, living productively, and thriving 365 days a year. So this almost completes my immunity section in the 2026 health revolution. So there's 5 or 6 of them there, and I've basically crystallized it out and teased out what needs to be done in sections. So you can put all of this together, and I wish you well. I wish you harmony and happiness, homeostasis within, and high levels of immunity. Don't subject yourself to attack, to genetic disorders, and be good. See you next week.